Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lindsay and this is A Person's Haven. Thank you for joining me. We are in the kitchen today. We have the canner going for us. We are going to can some beef broth. So I did make lengua tacos. Lengua is tongue in Spanish. So we made cow tongue tacos. And you can see that in my video that I made of that. But the broth from those tacos or that meat is still in the pot. I've had it in the fridge. And I'm going to take that broth and I'm going to jar it up and I'm going to put it on my pantry shelf because that broth tastes amazing. So stick with me today. We are going to get some beef broth canned. We're also going to get some mushrooms preserved and put in the refrigerator. And we're going to be doing a few preservation things. So hang tight, stick around, and we will get started. All right, the first thing that I wanted to do is check out my Ball Home Preserving cookbook to see how much time I need to set on my canner. I already have the beef stock made, so I don't have to make the beef stock, so I was really just looking for the time. And this says to pressure can at 10 pounds for 25 minutes, 4 quarts, which is what I'm going to be doing. So let's get this canner set up. I already have one jar in there, half full of water, because I was canning pepper jelly, which is also another video you can check out. And I am going to get some water to fill these 4 halfway. I do not think I'm going to need all of these for my stock, but I still need to fill them. All right, so we are going to fill these jars halfway in order to get them in the canner. And why we do that is so they don't float when they're sitting in there, because there is water in there. The other thing I'm going to check real quick, I'm going to pull this warm jar out. And I'm going to make sure that our water is still at the fill line when I pull this out. So we are a little short. So what I'm going to do is pour some of this already hot water from this jar in there. Actually, I'll do all of it because that's just perfect. And then I will fill this guy back up halfway with this. All right, and then I'm going to get these quarts placed in here. I am going to put the lid on. So we are pushing pressure canning. We are going to set it for 25 minutes. We have inserted the jars, which is what the screen is telling us. And now it is warming our jars. So let's move over to the stove and start getting this beef broth ready. This is our beef broth. With beef broth, if you chill it, which is what I did, this has been in the refrigerator for about 1.5 days. If you chill it, the fat will solidify and float to the top. And then you can easily take those fat pieces right off the top. So when I cooked my cow tongue, I cooked it with onion, garlic, bay leaves, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. The only thing this stock does not have that the book calls for is it does not have celery or carrots in it. So I'm going to grab my tongs And I'm also going to get the onions off the bottom. There's some bay leaves on the bottom. I'm not going to worry too much about getting all of it because I have to heat this broth up. And as I put it into the jars, I do think I am going to put it through one of my metal strainers. So I'll get some of it, I'll leave some of it. We're going to start heating it. All right, while my beef stock is heating and my canner is heating, I'm gonna start cooking these mushrooms. So when I go to grocery stores, I typically go to the clearance bin and see if there's anything there that I could use, I could preserve, put away for later. And when I went to Walmart last time, they had these big packs of mushrooms on sale. We eat a lot of mushrooms in our family. They were $2.88 for a pack like this. Regular price of these is $3.98, 96 cents, something like that if I'm doing the math. So I got 3 of them. I also got a small package, which we ate earlier with our eggs for breakfast tacos. But I'm going to put some butter in my pan, throw these in, saute them up, let them cool, put them in freezer safe bags, and freeze them for later. So I'm going to do about 4 tablespoons. I'm going to start off with 2 packages because I don't think 3 will fit. That is the beep of our canner ready to fill the jar, so we are just waiting for this to warm up. It is starting to get warm. All right, to the mushrooms, I am going to add salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. All right, and I'm going to add that last pack of mushrooms to the top because the amount of butter I put in is way too much for 2 packages. So we're going to let these cook down. All right, so I did taste my broth over here. And it tastes pretty blah. So we are going to add a couple teaspoons of roasted beef base. That will also help give it some color. I actually don't have that much left, so I'm probably just going to use the rest of this jar. stir in this beef base, which is just sitting on the bottom right now. Tastes better, but it's still lacking something. So we're going to add a little garlic. A little onion and more salt. I think salt is the key here. I don't want to over salt my broth because I can always add salt into recipes. That's better. That's good. All right, we'll just let it come up to a boil, and then we will move on over and start getting it canned. All right, our mushrooms are getting cooked. I'm going to add a little bit more garlic and onion now that we have that third pack in there. And a little bit more salt and pepper. All right, so our onions have been cooking, I'd say for maybe about 10 minutes. And they are to the point where if we were putting them into a hot dish or a spaghetti sauce, that we would now add that, because we don't want them to be cooked so much that they are just mush. So I'm going to turn the pot off. I'm going to let this cool, and then we will get this vacuum sealed in bags. All right, our broth is almost boiling. So we are going to move it over there and start canning. All right, so let's start canning our broth. All right, now we are ready to can broth. So we're going to lift our jars out. We're going to dump out the hot water in the sink. And then we're going to come over here, because our stock is not strained. I'm going to put this over top and strain it. Grab our scrap plate and dump this off in there. Just do a little more broth so we can get that 1/2 inch head space. All right, and then this one, you are going to want to wipe your jar rims with a paper towel that has vinegar on it, because vinegar cuts through grease. I'm going to wipe that real quick. I'm going to put my lid and my ring, and then I'm going to put this back in the canner and grab another one.
All right. We are gonna wipe the lid of the rim and put this guy back in.
All right, so we have 3 quarts. The little that I have left, I will put in my refrigerator to use. Let's get this lid back on. We're going to lock the lid in place. We are going to press play because we're moving on to the next step. And it is now going to heat. While it heats, I'm going to strain this last juice and start cleaning up. Everybody, so the canner just beeped for the broth, and we are going to get it out and put it with the jelly. When you're doing this, be very careful. Steam and water is hot. And here we have it. All right, the last thing we have to finish doing today is the mushrooms. So the mushrooms are chilled and I'm going to vacuum seal them. So I gotta get our vacuum sealer out. It has a teeny tiny cord on it. So we buy big rolls of vacuum seal bags and we cut them to our own size using a craft cutter. I'm going to start with 4 bags. And see if that's enough. Right, so the first thing, we gotta seal our bag shut. So we'll just push seal. All right, so I'm gonna do 1 cup of mushrooms, see what it looks like. Probably gonna end up doing 2 cups per bag. And then we're going to place the bag in our vacuum sealer and vacuum seal. All right, because the mushrooms have so much liquid in them, we are just going to seal them instead of vacuum seal them. Because they're not really vacuum sealing anyways. I thought cooling them would have solved that problem, but it did not. All right, so I finished sealing the mushrooms. I then labeled each package with the name as well as the date that they were cooked and packaged. And these are going to go into my freezer for later use. I did end up with 4 packages of mushrooms. They all sealed well, but they did not vacuum seal. So they will not last extensively long in the freezer, but they will last for a while. All right, everybody. So here we have all of our finished products. We only got 2 of the 3 quarts of beef broth to seal. So this morning when I checked all of the seals, I put the 1 beef broth in my refrigerator. So I'm going to get all these labeled. I'm going to get them on my shelf, and then they will be ready for us to enjoy. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to my channel. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe. Please push the thumbs up button and share this with your friends. Hopefully you come back to enjoy more content. If you want to enjoy more content, I will put some videos on the side for you to enjoy. And hopefully you guys are having a nice day. Bye.